Welcome to practice. I'm Jennifer of Unset Ways Yoga and Mindful Movement. So in traditional Chinese medicine, the metal element corresponds to the season of autumn and the process of change and letting go. In the previous practice of this series, we recognized how this relates to the emotions of grief and loss. And so today we will continue into a transformation of our grief through our movements. This practice represents how we build new structure, but not overly so, to create space, find inspiration, and connect with new uplifting habits and activities. So thank you for joining me today, and let's get started. We're going to start with a heart opening pose. So we'll take our two blocks. One we'll place at the top of the mat across, which will support behind our head. And the other will go vertically, starting at the top of our shoulder blades and continuing down our spine. So take a moment to adjust the positioning of these blocks. You want the top one to be underneath that occipital part of your skull. And again, the other one can start between your shoulder blades and continuing down your spine. This allows your chest to fall open, and you can just relax your arms from there. And then we can just outstretch our legs like we would in Shavasana. So let's take a couple of deep breaths in and exhales to settle into our class today. And when you're ready, just allow yourself to relax into even breaths in and out. No need to force any length, just observing where you are today. Maybe take a scan through your body from head to toe, finding any areas of tension to give a little extra breath to helping them to melt down and release the tension of the day. So maybe start at the eyebrows and the furrow of your brow, relaxing that, relaxing your temples and ears and jaw. Notice if any tension is in your throat and neck and shoulders, allowing them to just relax down, open up towards the sky, allowing your chest to relax, allowing full breaths to enter your lungs and expand, and fall with the exhale. Continue down your arms to your hands, relaxing all the work that our hands do for us every day. And back through the torso and the belly, down to the hips. Feeling secure and supported on the ground. Relax through your legs, knees, ankles, and feet. Continue to notice your breathing here. And if you followed last class, we set an intention for what brought us to our mat today, or what inspires us to move forward and keep going. Bring that to mind again. And then anytime in any posture that you find your mind wants to race or feels distracted, call upon the memory of that intention. And go back to your breathing, focusing on each breath in, each breath out, in and out, keeping you in the present moment. Let's take about 2 more cycles of breath here. And when you're ready, slowly bend your knees and roll yourself slightly to one side, just enough to pull your blocks out. And roll yourself back down into a brief Shavasana. Nice deep breath in and big exhale. Notice any changes you feel in your body after having your upper body uplifted, and now in our Shavasana pose to recalibrate. Next, let's bring each of our knees into our chest. Little hug, and then roll to a side, pressing ourselves up to seated. From here, we'll come into dragonfly pose. So setting yourself up in a nice straddle position. If you find that this position often creates stress in your lumbar spine or any kind of rounding, you might want to put a rolled up blanket or a wedge of a pillow under your hips to lift you up slightly. And if you have tight hamstrings, having a light rolled up blanket or pillow underneath your knees may help relieve some of that as well. So we want to be in a straddle, but not feet totally flexed, just in a relaxed position. So allow that to be anywhere that needs to be so that you're comfortable and feeling relaxed. And we can bring in any bolsters we'd like for our forward fold as well. So set yourself up with what you need, and then we'll come back to center together. Take a nice deep breath in, big exhale. Sit up tall, we'll hinge at the hips and come forward onto our support. Make sure you're relaxing in your hips all the way down to your feet. And make sure you're not tensing up in your shoulders or back area as well. Find that spot of stillness and allow yourself to get back to that breath again. Nice even breathing. If you're straining, you'll want to back off just a little bit and find some new propping. You want to feel some sensation of a stretch, but nothing painful. And you want to be to the extent where you can still breathe evenly and not in a strained manner. Again, if your mind starts to wander, recall that intention and return to your breath. And slowly press yourself back up. And we'll get our bolster out of our way for a bit. You'll remove any props, and then we'll grab behind our knees, allowing them to bend and move back towards the center. From here, we'll take a little bit of windshield wiper movement to release those hips even more. And we'll stop at the right side here. So coming back onto a little more evenly spaced on both of our hips, and then gently bring your left foot around, crossing over your right knee, making adjustments as needed. And we'll take this into a seated twist. So support your left hand behind you. Take a nice deep breath in, sitting up tall, and slowly twist towards the left. Find a nice soft gaze over your left shoulder. Just a gentle twist. You're welcome to close your eyes for a few breaths if you like. On the next inhale, let's come back up to center and slowly twist slightly towards the right to counter that deeper twist. And then we'll come back to facing forward, bringing that left leg around behind you into a more straightened position. We'll take this into sleeping swan. So again, bring any supports you would like. You could have a block or a pillow underneath your right hip. You could bring a bolster in to recline on if you prefer to be up a little higher than going all the way to the floor. And we'll center our hips, sitting upright, allowing your chest to open. Take a nice deep breath in. Big exhale. And slowly lower yourself down either to the floor or your bolster. You could support yourself on your forehead or to either ear, whatever feels comfortable for you in the moment. Find your breath in and out. In this posture, especially since it's usually held for a bit longer, it's very common to find the mind getting uncomfortable and wanting to squirm. But I encourage you to find your stillness, the mild discomfort of the stretch, remembering your intention and allowing yourself to breathe. These movements into stillness are very nourishing to our body, especially if you are moving through a time of grief or loss. And as you may know, it can be very hard to bring movement into your life in those times. It can be very paralyzing, both mentally and physically, as your body tries to figure out how to deal with what you're going through. And so sometimes by initiating with movement and breath, you can get the mind to participate as well in terms of opening up and ceasing the rumination and allowing yourself to move forward and re-inspire with love. From here, let's gently press ourselves up, moving any bolsters to the side. And we'll roll back onto that right hip, allowing your right leg to straighten next to the left, and then lower ourselves back down to the floor into a prone position. And adjust yourself onto the mat as needed to make sure that your body is balanced in laying in the face down position. Take a couple of deep breaths in if you need here, and big exhales. Next, we'll rise up to place our elbows underneath our shoulders. We're going to enter into Sphinx pose. Again, making sure those hips are even on your mat. And we'll rise our chest upwards, opening up, keeping our shoulders away from our ears. If this is straining on your low back, you could put a roll-up blanket or pillow underneath your hips that can help release that. And then we'll find our stillness, nice soft gaze ahead or closing your eyes, and find your breath. Allowing your chest to expand open with each breath. And from here, we'll lower down just slightly, walking our hands ahead of us just a smidge. And we'll take our left knee up towards our left elbow into a frog leg position. And next, we'll walk our hands out ahead of us. And you can take your right arm, weaving it under the left, rolling over onto that right shoulder, and allowing yourself to open up into an upper body twist. If that's not comfortable to you, We can come back to that arm extended point, and you can take your arm supporting your head with your hand bent up, and then roll onto that right hip, arcing your arm around again to an open twist position. From here, we'll take a bent knee of the right leg and capture that right hand with the right foot with the left hand. If you like, you can straighten out the left leg or leave it bent. The further away you have your feet, the more stretch sensation you'll feel. So find just the right position that feels good for you today, and then soften your gaze ahead of you or towards your ceiling. Allow your chest to open and take nice, deep, even breaths. You're welcome to use a strap capturing that back foot if I hadn't mentioned it, if that's helpful to hold the position more comfortably for you. About 4 more cycles of breath here. Go ahead and release that back foot. Bring your left hand in front of you for support. Go ahead and roll yourself back towards your belly on the center of your mat. And then allow yourself a couple of cycles of breath to recenter here. And when you're ready, let's come back up to the Sphinx pose with elbows under shoulders, shoulders away from ears, opening up that chest, light arch in the back. Breathe easy. Make sure you're not holding any tension in your neck or jaw. Next, we'll lower our chest slightly, allowing ourselves to frog leg that right knee towards the right elbow. And then we'll walk our hands out further. Again, if like last time you would like to be down on your mat, you can weave your left arm under your right, allowing yourself to roll on your left shoulder around to an upper body twist on the mat. Or if you liked to be a little propped up, you could come from the arms extended, rest on your left arm bent to hold your head. Come onto the left hip, and again, arc that right arm around into an open twist of the upper body. You can straighten that right leg if you like for more extension, or leave it bent. And then bend that left leg, capturing the foot either with your hand or with a strap. You want to make sure your shoulders are down, away from your ears, keeping that chest open, allowing yourself expansive breath, nice and relaxed. About 4 more cycles of breath here. Remembering your mantra or intention today. Continue to breathe easy. Go ahead and release your back foot, bringing your right arm, right hand to the mat for support. And straighten that right leg, allowing yourself to roll onto your belly back into a prone position. And once again, return to some even breathing, allowing your body to recalibrate after our twisting motions there. Next, we'll take our hands underneath our shoulders, pressing up and back into child's pose. Slowly, slowly roll yourself back up to seated. And we'll come forward onto our mat into our left side sleeping swan. So again, bring in any props that you need. If you like a bolster or pillow or block under your left hip. And you can bring in your bolster if you like for reclining on in front. And let's start by upright, opening our chest, shoulders away from ears. Nice deep breath in. Big exhale. And slowly lower yourself down. Keep that intention in mind and keep focusing on your breath in and out. You're doing amazing things just by being here today. And even if it feels like just going through motions at first, you'll find that connection again with every breath and find that sensation in your body that awakens you to how you feel and how you want to move, and re-inspiring. Let's do about 4 more rounds of breath here. And when you're ready, slowly press yourself back up, rolling onto that left hip, placing any bolsters just out of your way. Slowly bring that right leg around, keeping the left knee bent, crossing over, and coming to a balanced seat on both hips. We'll secure our right hand behind us, and with a nice deep breath in, sit up tall, and take a light twist to the right side. Make sure those shoulders are away from your ears, keeping that chest wide open. And find yourself easy breathing once again. Soft gaze over your right shoulder or closing your eyes. On the next breath in, let's sit up tall once again and come around to the left for a counter twist. And then slowly, gently outstretch your legs in front of you. We'll take this into caterpillar pose. So you want to be sitting even on each hip. We will be doing a forward bend, so again, to protect your low back, if you like to have a wedge of a blanket or a pillow underneath your hips, that can be helpful. And you can also have that roll of a blanket or pillow underneath your knees if that soothes any overly tight hamstrings. You can bring in a bolster to place between your legs if you'd like for your forward fold. Once you've found your comfortable seat, we'll go ahead and sit up tall, hinge at the hips, and then roll ourselves down forward. You want to bring your bolster up to your level so that your head is supported. And by resting on your forehead, you can feel that nice long extension of the spine from skull all the way down to your tailbone. And with each breath, imagine your ribs expanding across your back. Allow that entire line to expand and arc upwards, creating space, and allow the breath to clear out any tension. Let's take about 4 more rounds of breath here. And slowly roll up your spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, until you're sitting tall once again. I'm removing any bolsters here. And Let's come to towards the front of the mat so that we can lower ourselves down to reclined position. We're going into a supported bridge. You could bring in a block or a bolster to support underneath your sacrum, making sure it's not in that small curvature of your back, but under the nice strong bone of your sacrum there, supporting your hips. You can just relax your arms down at your sides, whether face down to feel grounded or face up towards the sky. And then raise your legs upwards. Allow them to wiggle and find their balance. So you find that spot where they feel balanced right into the hip sockets. And then we'll find our stillness here again, allowing ourselves to breathe easy. And enjoy this restorative pose. Again, you're always welcome to close your eyes and focus on the internal breath. Or if you're more comfortable, you can just have a soft gaze, in this case up towards the ceiling or towards your toes. And just allow each breath in and out to wash through you, renewing your circulation. Bringing new inspiration in through your body. From here, we'll bring our feet to touch together, allowing our knees to bend wide into a butterfly pose. Again, if you would prefer to lower your feet to remove your prop, you're welcome to. And then bring yourself back into your butterfly. You could grab onto your shins or your ankles or feet, or even using a strap to increase the stretch sensation, not stress, in our butterfly pose. And though our elbows may be pressing outwards on our thighs to increase the stretch, make sure you don't have too much extra strain on the neck or shoulders area. Find that balance between push and relaxation. Next, go ahead and release your hands and allow your legs to go back upwards towards the sky. And we'll lower them back down into a gentle straddle. We won't hold this one as long. We'll let gravity do some work in assisting us in a stretch here. Again, supporting yourself on the ground with your hands on your sides. And trying to find your even breathing. And just 2 more breaths here. And when you're ready, slowly bring your legs back up towards the sky. Maybe give them a little shake out. Lowering your feet to the ground. Pressing both feet into the mat so you can raise your hips and release your block. And then let's outstretch our legs into a brief Shavasana. Bending them once again into a nice hug for yourself, showing yourself some love. And slight release. Let's lower those knees towards the left. Just for a couple breaths. And back to the center. Lower them to the right. And back to the center. One more hug in towards your chest. And back out towards Shavasana. Next, we'll take this into banana pose. So you'll extend your arms straight above your head. And of course, legs out, stretched below you on the mat. So we'll walk our feet over towards the right corner of the mat. And then walk our arms and inching our shoulders over towards the right side of our mat. And find your spot where you can hold. If you need to increase the amount of stretch, you could cross the ankles one over the other. Same with the wrists, you could cross over and clasp with the hands or clasp with the elbows, whatever feels best for you to give you a nice long side body stretch there. Find that spot where you can breathe without it being strained. And then just melt into the mat in your crescent moon banana pose. And try to make sure that both hips are touching the mat. And that keeps the extension and stretch in the full side body. Let's do 4 more rounds of breath here. Letting that left side expand with every breath in. Giving you more space to breathe. When you're ready, slowly releasing yourself and walking your way back to the center of the mat. A couple of nice breaths in and out to recenter yourself. And then slowly walk your legs and feet towards the left side of your mat. And the upper body, shoulders and arms towards the left side of the mat. Crossing if you like to extend the side stretch and making sure those hips are both touching the mat. Breathe easy and melt back into that mat, no straining. Just enjoying a nice expansion along the right side body. Appreciating the space to breathe. And then slowly walking your way back towards the center of the mat. Nice deep breath in and exhale. And make yourself comfortable for our final resting pose, Shavasana. If you'd like to bring a bolster in for under your knees, you're welcome to. Any blankets are welcome. And give yourself credit for being here today and going through these movements to help open up your body again, to help allow breath in and breath out. All of our twisting poses help to wring out excess tension and held strain. Maybe one last scan through your body, making sure you're not holding on to any last bits of tension anywhere. And one last time, recall your reason for being on your mat today and connecting with your breath. I hope you'll continue to stay in Shavasana for as long as you need today, only getting up when your body says it's time. I'm so glad you joined me here today. Namaste.